Consequence Podcast Network.
This episode brought to you by
Nick B. Hey, Nick B.
Nick B, fun fact today.
Oh, yeah?
I've had some time on my hands to stalk him on social media. He's been listening to a lot of Queen. He says it's the soundtrack of his quarantine.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, that's actually a really great quarantine soundtrack.
Quarren Queen, if you will.
Oh, the Quarren Queen.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, Nick B, you picked a very good band to listen to while in quarantine.
Yes, good choice, Nick B.
This episode also brought to you by...
Ryan. Hey, Ryan.
Yeah.
So, Ryan has been making me and my whole company work nights and weekends for the past 5 months. And now that deadline is almost done, Ryan has decided kindly out of the grace of her heart to give us 3 days of comp time after months of nights and weekends. So
Nice.
I would just like to sarcastically say thank you, Ryan.
Wow, thanks, Ryan.
I like how you say, I'm going to say it sarcastically, and then you say it sarcastically. It's like a verbal double negative.
Deliver on my promises. Oh, also, Ryan only gave us a 9-day window to take these 3 days of comp time, and we're all fucking quarantined, so we can't go anywhere.
During your 3 days of mandatory comp time that you have to take in the next week, make sure you stay at home and don't
Exactly, yeah. But, I mean, am grateful to have a job, so, that's good. But thank you, Ryan. We love you. I'll be thinking about you on my days off, but not in a weird way.
This episode also brought to you by...
Mats. Hey, Mats.
And Mats is from Sweden, and he wants us to give some fun Swedish facts. And this one is from all the way back in the mid 1400s.
Ooh.
So Eric the 13th was more famous for the title of Eric of Pommern. But did you know that this Swedish king, that's right, he was a Swedish king.
A Swedish
was
king?
forced away from the crown in 1439.
Why was he forced away from the crown?
It doesn't go into it, but guess what he did then?
What did he do?
He fled to Gotland, I don't know where that is, where he crowned himself the pirate king of the Baltic Sea for a 10-year period. Anyway, he just became a pirate king for 10 years and fucked off in the Baltic Sea.
That's awesome.
It's a good retirement plan.
Although I say that knowing very well that he may have done horrible, horrible things and be hated in Sweden. So apologies if he is. I don't know anything about what he did. I just like the idea that he became a pirate king.
We don't want to tell a delightful story about a monster.
Yeah, I hear that the Pirate of Penzance is loosely based on his life. Welcome back to another episode of The Patreonicals.
Oh, are we doing Patreonicals? I'm ready.
I mean, we do it every week, so I'm shocked by your surprise.
Right.
But yes, we're doing Patreonicals.
Every week's a new world for me. It's like 51st podcast.
Oh, gee.
Okay, so when we last left it, Michael kidnapped Matthew, who's in a coma.
Right.
He's in his Prius.
He absconded with his body, yes.
Yes, his limp body is next to him in the
Not
Prius.
lifeless. He's just in a coma.
It's like Weekend at Bernie's all the time.
Ah.
Nice.
But he's alive. So they're racing in the Prius, and Eddie, the mayor of Mammaltopia, finds out, and he's like, well, we got to save him. So he sends out his best agent.
Agent Owl?
Kate has an owl.
Kate
tells her orangutan driver, I don't know his name, Mr. Bubbles.
Mr. Bubbles, the orangutan driver. I love it. Let's do it.
She says, pull the motorcycle up, and then she gets the owl.
The owl goes way up high and looks around
Yeah.
while they're driving around trying to find them. It's very, very efficient.
Right.
Yeah.
She calls her owl Mr. Owl, and she says, Mr. Owl, go find that Prius. And Mr. Bubbles, get the motorcycle.
Can't the owl be a girl?
Mrs. Owl, go get that Prius. Yeah, you can. It's whatever. So Eddie was like, look, we owe that guy our lives. We have to save him. You have to go, Kate. This is super important. Don't mess this up. And I know I'm usually really nice, but this is really important.
Right.
I also need you to take, this is Sting. He is a survivor of 3rd-degree burns, koala from Australia. He's out for revenge.
Okay.
Mrs. Sting lost her family in the Australian brush fire from episodes ago. Anyway, I owe her my life, so you need to take her because she wants to kill Isaac. So
She's got a axe to grind.
Yeah, she does.
so she's in the motorcycle too.
That sidecar is packed.
It's packed out.
It's a
packed out.
double-decker sidecar.
All right, so Isaac gets the page. He's in Bantertown, which is like Bartertown for Mad Max. But he feels really guilty that he ended the world, so he's trying to find other cities to restart civilization.
Right.
Okay,
Is
we'll skip
Bantertown
on.
when you just make jokes at each other endlessly?
Yeah. It really is
But,
just people yelling rhubarb, rhubarb, rhubarb at each other.
He's trying to make a happy place because he started the Sunny Downer virus or
Right.
whatever.
Well, and he built his city, Thunderdomington.
Yeah.
Yes. In Thunderdome, he sends out a caravan of those airport tugs with all the luggage racks behind them to meet up with Michael filled with people who are just wearing shoulder pads from high school football with like spikes on them and like face paint.
Right.
So like that tag team. What were
Yeah,
they?
it's exactly like that tag team.
It's not GWAR. It's like the League of Extraordinary Terrible Guys.
That's what they call themselves, is the League of Extraordinary Terrible Guys.
Yeah.
And
Good
they
guess,
use
Jen. Good guess.
They use
Nailed
kitchen mallets as weapons.
Ooh,
Kitchen
ooh.
mallets.
They're really expendable, so they get sent on all the shit jobs.
They're definitely the red shirts if they had shirts on.
Right.
They would be, yeah.
So Kate catches up to the Prius.
Okay.
And at the same time, there's like 3 tugs full of the League of Terrible people.
Oh, no.
And Kate uses her mind powers to flip over one of the tugs and block the road.
Uh-oh.
And then all the 40 shoulder pad people died from that already. But there's like 40 left. It's
Because
fine.
of the spikes. They like really endangered themselves by wearing those.
They weren't taped on good. They just flew everywhere.
Also, they're stupid. Also, she had telekinesis. Can't she like unspike them and just like stab them all in the brain?
She didn't have
Yeah.
to. She just had to call us the one car wreck.
Work smarter, not harder, Kate.
Right. The Prius stops, and like, how it stops so turns the car off. You know how Priuses are.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But he can't get it back working again.
Oh, no.
So the orangutan stops the motorcycle. Mr. Bubbles, and was like, brr. And then so everybody gets out. And then Michael gets out with his fencing swords.
Right.
The koala bear starts fighting some of the people with the spikes. And that's a side story. We won't get into that.
That's in the spinoff.
So it was a big fight, between Kate and Michael, and like her telekinesis was really tired from making the cars wreck, so she couldn't use it. So she had her own thing, So they were like really fighting, blah, 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 blah. And then
Her nose was bleeding.
yeah. Then the Prius kind of like flips over for some reason.
Because it's a Prius.
Yeah.
Yeah, Priuses are known to be super top heavy. Yeah.
So then Michael actually he threw some like bombs at everything. And so like a bunch of stuff blew up, and when the smoke cleared, one of the tugs was left, and it was going towards Thunder Domington with the body of
Oh, no.
Matthew. Yeah.
Oh, no.
The koala is attached underneath the tug.
Cape Fear style? Is that
Yes,
what that
with
movie is?
her belt
I've actually
attached.
never
Yes.
seen it. I can't believe I made that reference.
It's exactly like that. Kate's knocked unconscious.
Oh, no.
And Mr. Bubbles is like super annoyed.
Uh-oh. He's over it.
The owl's following them. And then as we clear away, Matthew's eyes open up.
I wonder what Matthew's going to do.
So will Matthew wake up and save the day? What side will Matthew be on when he wakes up? Find out next week on another episode of The Patreonicals. So now is that special time of the month, Jen, where we shout out all of our You Can Get It levels. These are the people that pay $25 a month on Patreon, and they can truly get it.
They can
They
get
really
it.
can.
Yeah, they can. The first one is Ash, who has been a member for a very, very long time. Thank you so much, Ash,
Yes, thank
for all
you,
the
Ash.
love. And the next one is Karoon,
Hey, Karoon.
who has also been with us for a long time. Thank you so much for putting up with us. We love you. And then we also have the lovely Kayla, who did this shout out originally for her husband, Aaron. And we like
Yeah.
shouting them both out because we thought that was really sweet.
That
is
is really
great.
sweet.
We have a new person entering the game this week as well. His name is Scott, and we love him just as much.
Oh,
Welcome to
yes.
the You Can Get It level, you amazing, beautiful bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scott, welcome.
Yeah, there is also Sean, who
Hey,
joined a
Sean.
month ago and through his wise wisdom decided to continue supporting us. Thank you so much, Sean.
Thank you, Sean.
There is the long suffering, and I call her long suffering not because she recently got married.
Has she dated you?
You can no, because she's our longest You Can Get It member,
Yeah.
and that is Veronica.
Hey, Veronica.
Thank you so much for
Veronica.
being our longest You Can Get It level. You can truly get it
You
from your
really
husband.
can.
I really
guys.
love our fans because a lot of these names sound familiar because I interact with them on the Facebook group.
They
Yeah.
do. Yeah, a lot of them I recognize because they literally interact with us daily in the Facebook group.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for being at the You Can Get It level. We love and appreciate you so, so much.
We really do. Thank you so much. And speaking of the Facebook group, this episode also brought to you by Chris. And I have a message that Chris left in the Facebook group, and it's so sweet.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just kind of a taste of like the kind of support and community that this Facebook group is, because it's just amazing. It kind of makes me cry sometimes. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Chris says, I just want to remind remind you all once again that you are loved and you are not alone, and encourage you all to put your mental health at the very top of your priorities list during these times. If you are struggling and want to cry at someone, I am here for you. That's so sweet. I will listen and offer you tips for dealing with anxiety if you want them. However, if you are dealing with a crisis, remember there are professional resources out there to help you. Everything is nutso, but we're in it together. I appreciate you guys. It's just so sweet and exactly right too.
It's so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of heart to the Facebook group.
Yeah. So thank you again for just constantly reminding us of that, Chris, because with as crazy as everything is right now, it's really easy to forget about that, you know?
It is. Thank you very much, Chris. We love you.
You guys, I got into the back of this ice cream truck because they said I got to eat all the ice cream I
Jen,
wanted.
it was going around the neighborhood just playing our theme music and people were trying to buy
I know.
ice cream, but they just wouldn't stop.
I just wanted some ice cream.
So this week at work, we had to tell the group that we had a nurse test positive for COVID, and we had to send some other people out for testing. Yeah. But for the announcement, I played Another One Bites the Dust.
Oh, God, well, Mikey. Oh, my God, Mikey. Oh, well, you had fun being employed, right?
Welcome to the Horror Virgin, everybody.
Oh.
I'm Jen.
I'm Mikey.
And I'm your Horror Virgin Todd, which means I don't like scary movies, but you guys make me watch them. And this week, the listeners made me watch the 1988 classic Killer Klowns from Outer Space.
Yes. Todd, did you say it with a K?
I did say it with a K, yes.
I will say that I'm proud of the listeners for picking up a very Mikey-esque movie.
Oh, man.
I was very nervous.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so first off, let me just get this out of the way. Mikey, I am so sorry we're in isolation and we could not watch this together. Because I fucking loved this movie, and it would have been amazing to be able to watch it with you specifically.
I watched it this morning, and I was like trying to text you to like recreate the feeling of
I
watching
know,
it with
I know.
you.
And I just kept texting you, save it for the podcast, because I have so many thoughts about this masterpiece. Anyway,
Are we doing first thoughts?
Yeah,
Is
let's
this
do first thoughts. So, Mikey, you've seen this before, clearly. What did you think about it when you first saw it?
When I was a kid, this movie was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
When I was in college, this movie was fun. And then I watched it this morning, and I was like, I will say that I went a little bit more Jenn on this movie.
Sure. You've grown.
Because
I've grown.
Feel like half the scenes are from like a script where like the movie was really scary, and then half of it was like someone's like, no, this isn't gonna work. Do some really batshit weird stuff in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like at its heart, this could have been like a really scary movie, but like it's so insane and the tones are all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
It really struck a chord with me of like, I like put it on my Instagram story. I was like, everyone needs to watch this because it's like the feel good movie we need right now.
I agree, Mikey. I agree.
And I will say that I think out of all the movies I've ever seen, this is the weirdest main couple throuple relationship weirdness I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah, we're gonna get to
weird.
that, but there is clearly some sort of polyamory going on, and we will talk about it when we get to it. Jen, have you seen this movie before?
No, I had not. And
All right, so give me some sweet first thoughts. I want to hear it.
Well, shockingly, I did not like this movie. I think
amazing. What?
everything you guys are saying is true. I agree with that. There was just so much like misogyny, and I did not like the way women were treated at all.
Yeah.
And if that had been like in control, like if they had been in control of that, I think I would have liked it a lot more.
That first scene comes up, and when we get there, I was just like, man, if these ice cream guys didn't exist, this movie might work a lot better.
Yes.
You mean the Idiot Brothers is what I kept calling them.
The Idiot Brothers is a great way to call them, because I honestly did not know what their names were the entire movie, but they were Idiot Brothers who fucked alien clowns at the end. We'll get there.
Okay.
Yeah. I kept hoping they wouldn't come back into the story, too. And they kept coming back into the story.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
It's like they shoehorned them in. You could tell it was like someone's passion project, and then the studio or whoever added all these weird elements that they like had to like form into the movie that they thought they wanted. It's so bizarre.
It was three brothers' passion project. It had to be like three brothers or a dad and two sons, because the producers, all three of them had the same last name. It was written by two of those same people, had the same last name, and it was directed by one of them. So it had to be like a family affair. Okay, so it was three brothers.
Yeah.
It was
I've got some
definitely
fun
a family
facts about
affair.
that.
Okay, but you can tell from those credits that it's definitely like a family had a cookout one night on their back porch and was like, you know what would be batshit insane? and they did coke and wrote the movie in 15 minutes.
Right.
And then we watched that movie, and I'm here for it.
Well, and I kept thinking, like, is this what these brothers are like when they're just driving their own ice cream truck around? And I think it is.
Yeah, I think they are the idiot brothers.
Yeah.
I feel like the older brother wanted a serious horror film, and then the younger brothers were like, let's put two characters who drive around an ice cream truck who want to get laid.
Boobies.
And then like their mom was like, you have to include their characters, honey. And like that's the movie that got made.
Yeah.
Said like an older brother.
Right?
But let's get into this fucking movie, Jen.
So we open with some awesome 80s music. And by awesome, I mean super cheesy and the most 80s in air quotes music ever.
Is there like a theme song for this specific movie?
It is. Yeah, yeah.
And listen, I'm not saying that Killer Klowns from Outer Space gave Men in Black the idea to do a song specifically called the title of the movie, but Killer Klowns inspired Men in Black. I'm here for it. Let's move on.
And Deep Blue Sea also. Because
oh shit. I honestly haven't seen Deep Blue Sea, but I have heard the Ice Cube rap.
It's
from
so
Deep
good.
Blue
His
Sea.
hat is like a shark fin.
Oh my God. Have you not seen Deep Blue Sea?
No, I have not.
Fun fact early, this was written and recorded by a group called the Dickies.
Oh, wow.
And the only information they had was the title. So they wrote this song. And I mean
Oh my God. That is honestly the easiest fact to believe, Jen.
They Patreonicaled a song.
They did. Well, and like it perfectly sets the tone for what the movie is going to be, you know? Like I was into it.
Yeah, they nailed it.
All right, so we have a cop getting coffee and he's a super mean asshole.
Yeah, he's the worst. He's at like the Big Tent Burgers or whatever, and he comes out with a like coffee mug, like an open coffee mug, not like something you would get at like a Dunkin' Donuts or whatever, a Starbucks, and he sets it in his car. Like they would not hand you a mug that you then drive away with. I thought that was insane.
Exactly.
I mean, they may have done it in the 80s. Who knows?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's fair. But he is, to your point, Jen, a huge dick.
Yeah, he's an asshole and I don't like him.
I like his character because he's such an asshole. He's played by the dean from Animal House.
Animal House, yeah. He's been in a couple of
that's
things.
where he's from. Okay, I knew I recognized him, yeah.
I also think he has one of the best deaths in this movie.
He doesn't. It actually kind of disturbs me. We'll get
Yeah,
there.
we'll get to that, yeah.
But we also see a kid crossing the street with a can of beer and groceries. And the only reason I bring this up is because this was the first screen appearance of Titus. You remember that comedian Titus?
Yeah, he's a stand-up comic, and he's done a bunch of acting work, yeah, but that's his first role?
Yeah. And it kind of reminded me of Dana Carvey in Halloween 2, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, cool.
It's very small. Although I will say this about that scene, you know it's a beer can because it's a white can with the word beer on it.
Exactly. It's Beer Brand. It's an offshoot of the Tarp Corporation that makes tarps.
When I first moved to Nashville, Mapco, the gas station chain, had its own beer brand.
Was it called
and
beer?
It was called Beer 30.
I remember my friends drinking beer 30, yeah.
And you could get a 30 pack for $24.
Jeez.
Wow, Mikey, that's real gross that you know that.
But the can was the same way. It was just like a white can. It was like beer. And then like in the small letters, it was like 30.
But we quickly learned that Officer Mooney, or his name is Kurt, but his last name is Mooney, I think.
Yeah, it's Mooney, I think.
Yeah, he is a huge dick.
Okay, so now we're at a lover's lane, which I think is called Top of the World.
It's called Top of the World, yeah, which is ridiculous, but yeah.
You got to set their expectations lower than that.
Lower on the world, like bottom of the world.
Yeah, I'd be like bottom of the barrel, and then if you do better, she's going to be really impressed.
And honestly, nothing sets their expectations lower than laying in the back of a car on an inflatable raft.
With champagne.
Right, in the little plastic cups. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my God.
He's a romantic.
That's where we meet Mike and Deb, right?
Yes, that is where we meet Mike and Deb. And we see a bunch of other people making out in the back of cars and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and at the beginning of this movie, Mike and Deb are dating, right?
Yes, they are. Or at least they're on
By
a date.
the end of this movie, that may not be the case, but at the beginning,
they're at least
they're together.
on a date.
Well, they're still dating. I just think their relationship has fundamentally changed a little bit. But
yeah, let's just say it's opened. It's more of an open type deal.
They had to buy a bigger raft. We're going to need a bigger raft.
Hot take. What's the officer's name? The third wheel
Officer
guy?
Dave.
He's a friend of Ramon, man. Like
I got the impression that Mike and Deb were both in their 30s as well, though.
I think they're in high school.
They said we go to school together, which could be college. Because they
Yeah, it
mentioned
could be
college students.
They're definitely older than high school. So I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
think that Dave was like a pedophile. I just thought maybe he had graduated college, I don't know, 2 years ago and just became a cop.
It was a
sort of thing.
senior freshman relationship, when they dated.
That's what it was, yeah.
Because we also talk about Debbie's two roommates. Unfortunately, we talk about them. So
Oh,
that would
yeah,
imply
yeah,
that
yeah,
she's
yeah.
like a college student.
So she's not in high school. Okay, that makes it better a little bit, I
Yeah.
guess.
But I don't think that Debbie's roommates exist, but we'll get to that. Let's move on, though.
Right. Okay. As we have Lover's Lane, we see an ice cream truck pull up to Lover's Lane because that's what you want when you're making out is ice cream.
Oh, God.
I do get a sweet tooth post coitus.
You don't want a sandwich, you want an ice cream sandwich?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Honestly, maybe Deb's that way. After at the end of this movie, when she's done getting sandwiched, she also wants an ice cream sandwich.
I mean, it's...
My headcanon is all three of them died at the end, and that was the best way to go.
Well, I got a fun fact.
What?
Well, we'll get there. I immediately hate these ice cream guys.
But you're supposed to, because it's very 80s, and this sort of humor died in the 80s, I think.
It really did, for good reason. But
Yeah,
also,
yeah,
because of
absolutely.
their loudspeaker and the echoing, too, it's even more obnoxious.
Yeah, and I honestly thought the beginning of this scene, when they start talking into the mic, because all of that is overdubbed later, it's ADR'd. I
Yeah.
thought that the people who acted in those roles did so bad they had to find someone else just to come in and do the voices. But we actually do hear their voices later, but they are not
I
great.
do. They are terrible. Yeah, I hate them.
Well, because they're saying stupid stuff, and they're like, "Well, you said if we got an ice cream truck, we could get ladies." No, you said that. It's really
No, they brought ladies. They bring two girls with them, and they're like, "We told you could come with us and eat all the ice cream you wanted."
yeah.
Uh-huh. And what kind
you
of
wanna
girls
park?
are they? They're the kind of girls
Lovely.
that the 80s
They're
would say
lovely
like to
ladies.
eat ice cream. Yeah.
This scene went on, and I had a full-blown panic attack. I was like, oh my God, did I pick this movie? Jen is going to hate this movie. And then I realized that the listeners picked it, and I was like, yeah, fuck yeah. I'm in the clear.
Honestly, aside from the Idiot Brothers, I thought it was great, but I do understand why you hate these Idiot Brothers. And I don't find the Idiot Brothers funny. I just understand why they're there, because in the 80s, it was horrible.
Exactly. And I understand that too.
If they got killed by the clowns, I think you could have overlooked it.
Well, if this is their only scene, you could overlook it. It's because they're throughout the
Exactly.
whole movie. Yeah. The ice cream girls are there like, we're not doing anything up here with you guys. You need to take us home. And one of them goes, all right, keep your shirt on. And she goes, yeah, we intend to. Which
Now, I
which
did
liked
like
quite a
that.
bit.
I
Yeah,
liked
yeah.
those ice cream girls.
Yeah, they had their own agency, man.
I actually kind of like Deb. I mean, she's pretty stern, and then also, but
I do
things
too.
get so weird.
I mean, she walks away with 2 boyfriends at the end of the movie. She's doing something right.
Well, then she's like, I'm going to sneak out and follow you because this is not just like, oh, leave the woman at home kind of deal. And I was like, okay, that's good. That's a good portrayal.
Well, and so this couple was intentionally written to kind of reverse the role of like the man being the leader and the girl being an idiot. And so they were trying to write her as the girl being the smart, like take charge one, and the guy being an idiot. And I think they kind of got halfway there,
Yeah, I don't think they quite nailed that, but she is not an idiot. In fact, I wrote in my
not.
notes many times, listen to Deb. What are you doing? Yeah, I wrote that many, many times.
And she's not really objectified either. We really don't see that too much in this movie, which I appreciate,
No,
except
I mean,
for the clowns at the very end.
Yeah, she even takes a shower and you don't see anything,
Exactly.
which I was a little surprised by.
Oh, I was too. Yeah, I
Yeah.
kept expecting the gratuitous shot,
Me too.
So we've got ice cream people being annoying at Lover's Lane.
I did love that everyone at Lover's Lane stopped to yell at them, and then everyone had 35 cans each to throw at them. Like they got pelted with like soda bottles and beer bottles and stuff. And then they eventually just leave because they're idiots.
Exactly.
Except Mike. Mike's like, I think those guys are kind of funny.
Oh, yeah. That's when I knew Mike was a big idiot. When he goes, those are my friends, man. They know how to have an adventure. I was like, oh, Mike's a loser, man. You gotta find a new man by the end of this movie. And she does.
Well, that's when Debbie realized she needed to invite someone else into this relationship because she
Yeah.
does like laughs, but laughs are not enough.
Jen's hot take is that even at this point in the movie, before Asteroid, before the clowns, Deb was already like, how can I get Dave into this right now.
Right.
Here's my hot take. I don't think it becomes a threesome. I just think she's on a rebound date right now.
From Dave?
Yeah. Dave gets tied into like the whole clowns come and tie the whole thing. And like she just hasn't ended it with Mike yet. But like after they get home from this, she's going to be like, Mike, that was like crazy and you did a lot of good. But like I still have feelings for Dave, obviously.
Yeah. At the end of this movie, when all three of them are smiling, what you don't see is the next 5 minutes where Deb explains to Mike that he should not be smiling.
Well, the best part at the end is when Dave, the officer, is like holding her and kissing her the back of her head.
Yeah.
And Mike is just like, I think Mike has come to terms with it by this point.
No, I think Mike is just an idiot.
Yeah. I think she still brings Mike in occasionally when she wants to spice things up.
Not my Deb.
All right. And this is when we notice for sure that they're making out in the back of the raft. And I have a backstory for that raft that I can save for fun facts.
What?
No, do it now. Do it now.
So the actor was like, this doesn't make any sense. Why are we making out in a raft in the back of a car? So apparently he and the two idiot brothers were like rafting somewhere and they got in trouble and they had to throw the raft in the back of the car. And so it was just handily there when he wanted to hook up. So the kids are making out in the back of the car and they're looking at the stars and they see a meteor that goes shooting through the sky and lands like over the horizon or something, which is really cool.
It looks like a meteor if it was a meteor inside the Roadrunner universe, but yes.
Yes.
It holds up.
Yeah, it definitely holds up, man.
I mean, we already know what kind of movie we're watching, you know?
Yeah, they're motherfucking clowns, guys. It's fine.
Exactly.
We listen to the theme song. Yeah, it's fine.
Right. And so we see Old Man Weirdo on his porch with his sweet little
my
dog,
God.
Pooh Bear. And he's going to be
Pooh Bear
rich.
was adorable.
Pooh Bear
Yeah.
was really sweet, yeah.
And unfortunately, the first death of this film is Pooh Bear.
Well, off camera,
horrible.
but yeah. Old Man Weirdo now thinks he's going to get rich, so he gets his shovel and he starts hunting out. And Debbie decides she wants to go check out this meteor because everybody's real fascinated by this thing that probably caused a huge crater in the earth and the best of circumstances.
Yeah.
But so the Old Man Weirdo gets there, and what is there? There's a giant fucking circus tent in the middle of this field.
He tells Pooh Bear, come on, Pooh Bear, maybe we can get some free passes.
Yeah. He's excited to go to the circus.
Everybody who
in the
sees
woods.
this thinks this is like a legit circus that they just didn't notice popped up in the middle of the woods after a meteor hit. Yeah, he's like, ooh, where's the dang ticket booth?
Oh, my
Pooh Bear
God.
and Old Man Idiot are wandering around outside the circus tent. And
Old Man Mikey?
Old Man Mikey.
Aw.
I want some free passes.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
I mean, that's dialogue from the movie. And so we see, and this is a little bit creepy. We see an outline of a clown kind of appearing from inside the circus tent. And that's
and
one
it
of those
looks like
things.
it might be his outline or his shadow or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. And then it stops walking when he continues walking. Yeah.
Right. Like, I think in a different movie, that would be really creepy because
I
I'm
think it
telling
would.
you, this movie has like 4 or 5 scenes that I think could be really scary. Just tweaked.
All right. But so as Old Man Weirdo goes to find the ticket booth, we see like a green circle and then a hole appear in the circus tent. And then a net gets thrown over poor little Pooh Bear.
And then we never see Pooh Bear
We
again.
don't. Yeah. And when we see the Pooh Bear spot that he was occupying, it's just got his sweet little bandana on the ground. It's really sad. Okay. So Old Man Weirdo realizes that his dog has been netted or something.
Yes.
And he tries to punch.
Absconded with, yes.
Yes, yeah. And he tries to like punch through the tent, but then a hand stops him, which was so weird.
It was very odd, yes.
Maybe it was his other hand and he realized, no, this isn't the way. The violence is never the answer. So he
Violence is
stopped
never
his
the
own
answer,
hand.
Jen.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. But he says, where's my Pooh Bear?
He's like, the only thing holding me back from murdering people was Pooh Bear.
I know. And now I'm all out of Pooh Bears. But so he touches one of the poles, like the support poles, and it electrifies him.
Yeah.
And then he sees a giant clown and he smiles. He's like, oh, hey, a clown will lift me out of my sorrow after losing my dog.
But it's the scariest looking clown ever. Like, no one runs from these clowns, and they're fucking terrifying.
Everyone
know.
assumes they're people dressed as clowns, and they do not look like that.
No,
No,
they don't.
they do not at all.
Yeah.
It makes me mad.
Yeah, there's a lot of clown love in this movie. Unjustified. But so he shoots him with a toy ray gun. and we don't see what happens yet.
He just turns a shade of pink at this point. We don't see what happens.
But we're going to find out very soon what happens when you get shot with these toys.
They're not toys, Jen. They're dangerous weapons
Oh,
from a
pardon me.
space-faring, technologically advanced race of
You have to
clowns.
Jen.
pretend they are always, or imagine they're always loaded. There's always cotton candy in that gun.
Right. And listen, even though it's a Ruger, there is one in the chamber. That's what I learned from Tiger King.
Oh, jeez. All right. So now we're at our police station and we see our asshole cop from the beginning, and he's bringing in 2 local emo punks from the local college.
Can I just say this? After movies like Lethal Weapon and stuff like that, it was awesome to see a middle-aged man, like an old man, be the loose cannon cop, and the younger new cop be like the straight-laced cop. It was
That's
amazing.
way more realistic than you would think. Yeah, like young cops are like all like gung-ho, like
By
I
the
want to help
book.
people and all that. And
Yeah.
then, like, older cops are like real burned out.
Oh, I'm sure that's true. Yeah, and he is super burned out.
Yeah, he's getting too old for it, and he's really pissed off about it, too.
He's way too old for this shit. Yeah.
Right. But so he's yelling at the kids, and he just hates.
He hates his life.
He's like the Grinch of cops, except Christmas is kids.
Yes.
Okay, so now Mike and Debbie pull up to investigate.
They're on an invested date.
They are on an invested date, and they got blocked by an investigate. So now
Nailed
they got
it.
to
All
invest a bang, I guess.
Okay, well, I don't want to be invested late to this joke, so there you go.
Did you guys catch the chief running of the mouth problematic humor
Yep.
stuff?
The next thing I wrote was he
man.
jumps on the car and is pretty racist.
Yeah, he jumps in the car and is culturally insensitive to the people who were here first.
Yes, and that's one of those things with, like, I feel like at this time in the 80s, that was kind of like, there were people who would have taken that out of the movie, and this movie was not made by those people, you know? Like, doesn't
yeah,
seem
but-
super out of place, but still should have known
Yes.
better.
It was right on the cusp of that, right? But I mean,
Yeah.
it's 2020 and we still have a team called the Redskins.
That's true.
So, like,
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of stuff still goes on, unfortunately.
Exactly.
But
And it's like
Yeah.
Deb's only problematic line.
that's true. Yeah.
All right, so they get to the tent and he says, "What?" And I have written down some of this dialogue because it was just insane. Saying, "What's the circus tent doing way out here?" Because they all still think this is like a fucking actual circus. And so she is saying, "Something is wrong. Do not go up to this tent. This is a crazy circus in the middle of a field where the gate was locked."
You don't want to do this. Yeah.
Exactly. Listen to women. And this is a theme that we see in a lot of movies like this, is the women know what's up and nobody listens to them.
Well,
The first time I saw that was in Dr. Giggles. But
Yep.
yes. She's like, "I'm scared. We don't want to go there. Let's just go away." And he goes, "Well, would you be more scared if I left you here? Or would you be more scared if you came with me?"
Yep.
Which is like a stupid, like, he's an asshole. He's just gaslighting her into going with him. And of course she goes with him because I would be more scared to stay there by myself too. Although
Exactly.
what I should have done is said, "Let me stay here with the keys so that when you come back, I can have the car running." And I would have gone back to the car and left.
I
Right.
don't like Mike at all. Also, this movie has a really problematic theme of like no one can drive. There's like 90 fender benders in this movie.
Yeah.
But I don't like Mike. I don't like Mike the character. He's just an idiot.
So they go into the tent because what else is she going to do? Although I would have just left his ass, like Todd said. And so they go in and it's like a fun house. And he's talking about this new wave European circuses and doing this idiot circus voice and talking about the freaks in the freak show. And 2 of the ones he's talking are like talking about the bulimic wonder.
Oh, and 50-50? The half man, half woman. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of pretty much everything he mentioned was super problematic. Yeah. They hear like one of the clowns coming or whatever, and they like run into a side room that has like cotton candy light bulb things, right?
Right. Yeah.
They literally are running from something. They heard a sound. They don't see the clowns just yet, but then they immediately start yelling. Like, "What is this place? Like,
I know.
Shut up. You just ran away from somebody. Why are you yelling so fucking loud?"
And it does kind of look like the Grinch's circus, you know? Like it's the circus that came to Whoville, you know, because all the
Yes.
colors are really
Yeah.
bright. It's against a black backdrop, you know. We see like a bunch of like a hallway with a bunch of like they look like elevator kind of doors, and one of them's green, and so they go down to the other one, and there are like clown nose buttons on the wall, and so they push the buttons, and then it opens and they get sucked in, and they go down into like this huge chamber with the weird electric like lightning ball in the middle, which is like if you ever went to a museum and you put your hand on it and made your hair stand up, you know?
No, it's actually the core of the Death Star. If the Death Star was made of the circus people.
Yeah, it actually does sort of look like that scene where Luke and Leia swing across to the other side while they're being chased by stormtroopers. It's like the same looking shot, except in Star Wars, it doesn't look like it was hand drawn.
Right.
And there's not a lot of orange and red stripes.
And so they go back into another elevator, and Debbie is starting to realize that they are inside whatever that shooting star thing was that they saw.
Yeah, she is smart and knows immediately. And Mike is like, I don't know.
I know. He's like, where are we? Exactly.
Oh
when are the tigers going to be here?
Deb's like, we need to get out. We need to get the fuck out right now. And he's like, I don't know. This could be a fun circus.
Exactly. So now they're in another neon chamber, and we see lots of like cotton candy things hanging upside down. And it's like cotton candy bats, like hanging from rows, you know?
Yeah, they look like big light bulbs to me.
Yeah, except they're pink. Mm-hmm.
Are your light bulbs not pink? Oh, hang on one second. What?
Why do you have pink light bulbs? When you're feeling extra fabulous?
Absolutely.
Okay, so now actual line from the movie. Debbie says she doesn't believe in UFOs, but if they do exist, we're in one right now.
Yep, that is a line of dialogue from the movie.
And then Mike says nobody stores cotton candy like this.
Which is technically true, right?
It is true.
No one stores it like that.
I don't know. I think they hang cotton candy from the walls like everywhere in those cotton candy places.
No, they don't. They're in little spinny boxes.
But they do hang them when they're done.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good point. This is the only thing Mike says that is like correct, and he poses it as a incorrect statement.
Yeah, because also correct is, hey, my name is Mike, but you don't need to scream that every 5 minutes to remind us.
Is that towards the movie or is that towards me?
We'll never know. Okay, so now we see a clown coming. Oh, they push aside some of this cotton candy and they see a face inside of it.
A bloody face.
Yeah, I think it's the old man's
I think
face.
so,
It's
too.
supposed to be the old man's face.
I was looking for this because I'd already done research, but I couldn't catch it. Supposedly there's a smaller cotton candy hanging thing that's supposed to be Pooh Bear, but I choose to believe that did not happen. Pooh Bear's living his best life in a field somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so now a clown comes in, and he is carrying a cotton candy cocoon, and he starts pulling some popcorn levers because he wants a snack. And so then he sees them, and he pulls out this toy gun that we'd already seen, and he starts trying to shoot them. Actually, I think this is a different gun, but they're running out, and he's chasing them, except he's a big rubber clown, so he can't
So he's
catch
slow
them.
as shit. Yeah.
Exactly.
I will say that they all walk like Neil Armstrong's first walk on the moon.
They do,
Yeah. Well, because this is a different gravity than they're used to. That
It
makes
is.
sense to me, Mikey.
Also, the implications of this movie is that one ancient species seeded the galaxy with life, and that's why the circus is common cultural knowledge intergalactically.
Yeah, well, fun fact, this was actually like
Wow.
a huge step forward in clown alien culture. Like they celebrate the day that they rocket landed because it was the first step for clowns.
Giant leap for clown kind.
Yeah, and they left, like, you know how we have the flag on the moon? They left all of those giant footsteps like all over the place to mark their territory. They'll be back.
Well,
guys.
and they did leave those in the sheriff's office.
They did,
So
yeah. Yeah.
that is a thing.
It is.
Oh my God.
So they get out of the tunnel. He's shooting this giant popcorn gun at them. And some of the popcorn, is getting stuck on them.
It is. And can I say this really quick? Because it doesn't pay off until later when the popcorn in the shower scene thing happens. But that popcorn turns into clowns later on.
Yeah.
So he shoots them with clown semen right here.
No. It's not semen. They're fertilized clown eggs. They reproduce like fish.
Okay, so they're fertilized clown eggs that he shoots on them. Either way, it's gross, Mikey.
That's why he had them in the big popper thing. They were incubating.
Oh my God. Okay.
I'll tell you,
All
I
right.
made a lot of inferences from their clown culture from this movie.
We're going to find out that Mikey was secretly a rubber clown the whole time. He's going to rip off his head. his
Honestly,
mask.
with how clumsy he is, that makes
He
sense.
does. So many things falling into place.
I'm just scouting out for my clown overlords.
Okay, so now they get out of the tunnel, even though they've got ominous popcorn stuck on them, and they run through the woods. And then another clown comes out, and I loved this part because he's like, I got a plan, and he makes a balloon dog that comes to life and gets the
Oh
scent
my God.
and starts sniffing their trail.
This is when you know the movie's going to be great.
No joke. Up till this point in the movie, I was like, I don't know if this is going to be all right. And the moment they get outside and he makes the balloon animal dog and it goes, ruff, ruff, I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm on board for this movie.
know.
My
Let's
favorite part
do
about
it.
this scene is that he pretends the dog's pulling him and like acts like it.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
so good.
It's acting,
It's
man.
amazing, Mikey.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And I think the dog like howls at the moon at one point too. It's really cute.
The clowns are the least problematic part of the movie.
Well, except for a couple of them, but yeah. And so then Debbie and Mike get to their car, and because they don't have a Prius, they know how to start it. And so they back up and they run over some of the clowns, and they almost run over the clown dog. But I'm going to pretend that the clown dog ran away and is hanging with Pooh Bear.
We see him later. The clown dog is fine. Yeah,
Oh,
we
really?
see him later.
He pops back up.
Pops. Nice. Well done.
Oh, Mikey. And so Debbie and Mike have driven away, and one of the clowns, like Michael Myers, sits up. And so we know that these clowns are invincible. And he looks at the sign to Crescent Cove. So I guess that's the town they're in. And then he starts slowly walking. And then another clown starts slowly walking. We see like dozens of clowns following, just kind of rubber hobbling.
Oh my God.
The best part is that like they're advanced civilization, and like the town is 5 miles away, and like nine clowns are like, I guess we'll just walk.
We're gonna hoof it in our big ass shoes. Yeah.
And they even have a clown car.
We see them. Yeah.
Look, they just want to stretch their legs. It's been a long
Yeah.
trip, you know?
Yeah. I feel like the clowns are the closest horror movie villains that me and Todd would become, because like
I don't like this.
all of their kills are like well thought out bits that take a lot of effort.
Yeah.
And sometimes pay off.
Yeah. I could just see them in like a writer's room being like, get a clown motorcycle.
Okay, so meanwhile, Debbie and Mike are in the car and they're arguing about whether to call the police. And Mike is saying nobody will believe us. And Debbie's saying, no, I got a friend in the sheriff's office. He'll believe me.
Oh, yeah, he
so they
does.
get to the police station.
Well, they don't just get to the police station. They drive terribly to the police station.
That's true.
And then run into the police
Oh my
car.
God. Yeah.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they run to the police car out front. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the first fender bender
It's
of the
insane.
movie.
All right, so Debbie, they go in and they're saying somebody is dead and they're wrapped in these cotton candy cocoons and that there are a bunch of clowns coming.
They go in and they're describing it, and then Mooney hears them. He's like, killer clowns from outer space.
I know. I literally wrote in my notes.
He said the name of the movie.
Exactly, Jen. Exactly.
I wrote it in my notes
Yeah.
too. And did you notice that Dave was sitting on the desk with his junk right in front of the chair where she was describing what was happening?
Yeah, he was manspreading all over her. But listen, she was here for it. She did not move
That's
away.
true. She
was
did not
here
back
for it.
away.
Yeah.
Although she could have just said, hey, gross guys, get away from me. I'm moving to another town.
Instead, Mike's like, something weird's going on. I
No,
think."
Mike never picks up on it. Mike is an idiot.
He does get a
He
little
picks
bit
up
mad.
on it.
We'll get there. But so while they're talking about this, the clowns are coming to a drugstore and they see a giant gorilla outside of this drugstore. And the clown with his advanced super intelligence is like, I have an idea. And so he just pretends to be this giant clown, like robot moving,
Yeah.
hiding in plain sight. And it works.
It does
These two
work.
girls just go into the drugstore. Okay, but so back to the police station. Debbie is telling them everything. And then old mean Mooney shows up and he's saying there's nothing there. He calls Debbie a tramp, which I do not like.
He's a horrible person.
Oh, yeah,
He
that
is a
was
horrible
Mm-hmm.
dude.
Somebody's hurt that man. Hurt people hurt people.
That's true.
Oh, yeah. Then he's been hurt a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, Dave is asking who this friend of hers is, and I think he's jealous of Mike. And this is when we kind of figure out there might be something romantic going on here. And the old man, mean cop, also doesn't like the ice cream creeps and thinks something's going on with the idiot brothers.
Well, yeah. Well, because they're saying it's killer clowns from outer space, and the idiot brothers drive a clown ice cream truck. So they're like, this is actually sort of makes sense because the officer's like, oh, you're just playing a prank. This is stupid.
I think he says, I recognize you, moron.
Yeah.
You hang out with those two idiot brothers.
And he's right.
He is right. But I think the clown on top of the ice cream truck also connects it. But he also says ominously, you're not going to make a dummy out of me, winky blinky,
Oh,
in
my God. I
classic
forgot
dummy
about that.
shadowing.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Foreshadowing.
Dummy
shadowing
shadowing.
right there. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so now Dave is driving them away, and we're at a gazebo, and this part was insane.
Oh, you mean the puppet attempted rape scene?
Yes, there's a
Yeah.
puppet show in a gazebo, and a teenager just walks up to it, and at first he's not into it.
This is the insane part, is that this like 30-year-old man is walking alone in a park by a gazebo, and he's like, yeah, I'll take in this puppet show by myself.
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy this free bit of entertainment real quick.
It's interesting.
And also be overly critical about it, even though I'm by myself on a Saturday.
So the boy puppet is trying to put the moves on the girl puppet. She's not into it. And then she disappears and comes back with a giant gun.
Yeah.
And then shoots boy puppet.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, teenage boy, you like that? And points the gun at him.
Then the alien stands up and it's huge. I actually sort of liked that reveal because it was like a super tall alien behind a really small little stage for the puppet production. But yeah.
And then the puppet show just kind of dissolves around him, too.
Yeah.
It breaks apart, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then they shoot him with a ray gun. And this is the first time we see what happens when you get shot with a ray gun, which is very bad. Like, I think this was the first CGI, which, like, also included markers. So it's like, encircles him with, like, pink, and then he turns into one of these cotton candy cocoon things.
Yes.
And so that's what these guns do, and that's what the cotton candy thing is.
And then the clown laughs maniacally.
As clowns are known to do. Yes, Mikey. Okay, so can I say this about the drugstore clown shenanigans? The drugstore clowns have killed 2 people in the drugstore. And then it cuts to, so then it cuts to them just sort of like looking around, like throwing paper towels around and like looking at like merchandise and throwing it around.
They knock over the umbrellas.
Yeah, and then it cuts to the guy who runs the little store there, and he's just like giving awesome reaction shots to them like messing up his store, but he gave no reaction shots to them killing people in his store, nor did he leave. That man is a professional. Like he is in that store to make his sales and nothing else. It's amazing.
It's all about the merchandise.
Oh, yeah.
So now Dave is driving Debbie and Mike home. And I thought for a minute he was going to drive both of them home, but he's just driving Debbie.
Because he knows where she lives. Wanky blanket.
Because this is men's work. We have to investigate the murders.
And so
before they get out, Dave is talking to Deb in front of Mike about, I still have feelings for you. Like he is like power moving all over Mike. And Mike does give like a strange look, but he sort of still lets it continue. Like
that's what makes me think it was like a first date.
Oh my God. I thought it was hilarious.
But I mean, look, he's open to new experiences and maybe he's
I
not
think
super
it was a
jealous.
first date. I don't think Mike was emotionally invested. He's just like, this is awkward and weird. I can't wait to tell my friends about this.
I can't wait to start off a podcast, get a laugh line out of this story.
That's what I was thinking. You 2 are my ice cream truck friends.
That's what it is.
Lord.
Oh my God.
We are.
We are the idiot brothers and Jen. But Jen,
so maybe he's just
I
not
think
it was
super
a
jealous.
first date. I don't think Mike was emotionally invested. He's just like, this is awkward and weird. I can't wait to tell my friends about this.
I can't wait to start off a podcast, get a laugh line out of this story.
That's what I was thinking. You 2 are my ice cream truck friends.
That's what it is.
Lord.
Oh my God.
We are.
We are the idiot brothers and Jen. But Jen, you're right. They do. Mike and Deb go up to her front door, and Mike is like saying goodnight, more or less, and Deb is saying, no, I'm going to go in here, but then I'm going to follow you guys back up there because we got to figure out what's going on. And Mike is like, no, stay home. I don't even want to go. And I was like, finally, Mikey is the only one talking sense right there because he shouldn't go up there. He should let the cops deal with it and have sex with his girlfriend goodnight.
Exactly.
This is the one time I really connect with Mike's character because 1, he doesn't want to do this. And then 2, he's definitely planning on ghosting her because of her unresolved feelings for her ex. And he's like, I'm just ready for this date to end and my weekend to go forward without you.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
But did you notice what Dave said to her? Like, because he was driving her home and she said, I don't want to go home. And he's saying, I can either take you home or I can take you back to the station and lock you up for safekeeping.
Yeah.
Which is bullshit.
Yes.
Yeah, Mike's like, this is not I did not sign up for this.
This is no wonder you broke up with him. Yeah, like as much as I don't really like Mike, I don't like Dave either.
I mean, but that is like a 1980s version of chivalry. It's not good.
It is.
But I think they played as like he's just trying to protect her.
I think so too.
But you're right. It's not good.
After he said that, lock you up for safekeeping, I wrote in my notes, I hate this movie. I really don't, but it's lines like this that just make it, All right, so now we see a girl in lingerie, and I guess she thought somebody else ordered pizza for her, but it's a bunch of clowns clowns who get her
We
with
get
the ray
so
gun.
many of these open door shot reveal clown turn into cotton candy cocoon stuff. It's insane. Yeah.
And I kind of like this.
But the first one is a girl in like a nightie who like is being delivered pizza. I thought it was cool though because there's like a clown at the door with a pizza box, and then the pizza box opened and it's a clown.
Right.
And he shoots her. I thought that was great.
And it reminded me of the part in Gremlins where we see just kind of all like whatever crazy 80s idea
Yes.
they could think up,
Yeah.
So I kind of enjoyed this part. Or like, what kind of sets do we have left over? What can we throw together?
Some of these scenes are scary.
Well, we're going to get to the one that does scare me. So when we see somebody who gets candy delivered and thinks that her husband finally loves her and thought enough about her to give her a gift, but no, it's cotton candy. Yeah. Okay, we did this a little out of order, but this is when they're dropping Debbie off.
These scenes are interspliced at the whole movie of these clowns killing people.
It's just showing the
are.
clowns got to town and what's going on with the clowns in town. Yeah.
The clowns in town,
Yep.
they sure do get around.
The clowns are back in town. The clowns are back in town.
What I started.
Yeah.
Okay, so the clowns are still wrecking the drugstore, and they find some shaving cream and they sneeze into powder. And now Dave and Mike are going to investigate. And they're back in the woods, but the tent is now gone. Although there is a gigantic hole in the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Dave, being the reasonable police officer he is, it's not like, this is a giant hole here, this is odd. He's like, you're under arrest.
Exactly.
I almost wanted Dave to be like, you're under arrest for banging my ex-girlfriend. Because that's what it seemed like.
Exactly.
He just seemed like he was looking for a reason to arrest him.
I like the whole, like when he was dropping Deb off, he was like, Deb, this guy's just going to shoot me out in the woods.
I mean, you think he probably wanted to,
Yeah.
All right, so now we got our motorcycle clown.
Oh my God.
This part was insane. So he clowns up to a motorcycle gang, and he's on his clown cycle.
It's like a clown cycle. Yeah.
It's a clown motorcycle when it's really small and it's like the tiny clown. And the motorcycle has training
Yes.
wheels.
Oh, because you don't want to fall over. And so the tallest guy of the motorcycle gang comes up and he's like, "What's this, baby?" And then he goes up to just be an asshole to this clown
and destroys the clown cycle.
Yes, picks it up and smashes
Like a real
it.
dick.
First, he asked the clown if he could ride it, and the clown shakes his head no. And he's like, well, can I honk the horn? And the clown shakes his head yes. Then he picks up the whole motorcycle and smashes it on the ground, and the clown makes a sad face.
Yes.
And if I know anything from watching Sons of Anarchy, it's that you don't touch another man's bike, even if that person is a clown. So this is justified.
I did love the reaction shots of the other bikers as like their main bikers interacting with the clown. And then when the main biker goes, what are you going to knock my block off after he's like putting his dukes up? And then he punches his fucking head off.
Yeah.
And then it shows the other bikers like, what? It's amazing.
But first, the clown has to jump up into the sky and
Yes.
disappear, put on boxing gloves, and land.
Yeah.
He's got to go access his place where he gets all the stuff he won in the video game.
Jen, what he did is he stored his boxing gloves in the cloud.
Okay.
And then he had to jump up to the cloud to get them and then come back down. Yeah.
In clown society, the cloud is a literal
A cloud. Exactly. Yeah. It makes sense if you think about it, guys.
Well, and so he does knock his block off, and I kind of like that part.
Yeah, when it cuts back to him and he crumbles to the ground with no head, I was like, oh, that's pretty solid.
And that guy deserved it because he was a dick.
He did
All right,
deserve
so
it,
now we're at Big Burger time, and we see some moms there eating with their kids. And this is the part that did really
is
disturb me.
the scariest scene of the whole movie.
So we see a little girl, and she's looking, and she sees a big clown out the window, and he's just waving and playing
Oh my
peekaboo.
God. It's just like It Chapter 2,
It
man.
actually is, yeah. And then we cut back to we see her empty chair, and we see that he's got a giant mallet behind his back, and it's so creepy.
Yeah.
And so she's creeping up to the clown because she knows she's not supposed to leave her mom, and she's about to go out the door and get clowned.
Right.
And then her mom catches her just as she's walking out the door. But that part was really scary. Even if the clown was not a giant clown, even if it was just a person, that's terrifying,
See, and I think the theme of this scene and the potential here is that this movie could have been really scary if it was all kind of like this scene.
And I think that maybe if they had done this movie now and had the technology to make these clowns consistently scary throughout, they could have done this movie and made it scary. But I think the effects are just so goofy that there's no way you could make it scary.
Hot take. This is the remake needed for 2020.
Well, I've got fun facts about that, actually.
Oh my God,
Stay
Jen.
tuned. wound. Okay. So, but the girl is no longer in danger, or at least for now, but who knows what happens in this town. Okay. So now Dave is driving Mike back to Lover's Lane and he sees all the trash in the cars, but there's nobody there.
Right. Oh, and this is when he opens one of the cars and it's got that cotton candy interior stuff. Like, it's insane.
Right.
Oh, this scene's creepy too.
It is really creepy. Yeah. And he sees those glasses of the person who's in that car.
Yeah, and that they're broken. And so then he's like, oh, fuck. Well, I guess I can't arrest this guy for no reason anymore.
This scene scared me as a kid.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The cotton candy car scene?
I remember the first time I watched this movie that I was like really scared at this point.
I've heard that this was a scary movie for people when they watched it as a kid. And I can see that. I mean, there is some scary
I can see it watching as a kid. Yeah.
Like, I think if my kids watched it, they would be really scared. Okay, so now Dave finally believes Mike.
And he uncuffs him.
Yeah, he's like, okay, I guess we'll fight this thing together. I think laying the groundwork for the polyamorous relationship that they're going to continue, you know.
I honestly thought that Dave thought, listen, I have a gun, Mike doesn't. There's no way Mike survives the night if we fight it together, so let's fight it together, and then I'll take my girlfriend back once Mike is dead.
Exactly. I'll throw some melty pie on him.
Some acid pie.
Well, if you listen to the dialogue, the only one who really cares about Deb is Dave. Mike does sometimes when she becomes the balloon, but like really at this point, he's like, oh man, these clowns are going to kill everybody. We got to save everybody.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's super invested in Deb.
No, he's the one who gets the ice cream idiots to go chase her down.
Yes, but like I think he would have done that for probably anybody.
Well, I don't know. Maybe her roommates.
Her roommates don't exist, guys. We'll get to it.
Unfortunately. Okay, so now that they're both on the same team, old asshole cop is at the station, and he's starting to get calls from the clown shenanigans that are going on all over town, but he doesn't believe him.
Yeah, and he doesn't answer the phone.
Yeah.
He literally starts reading a magazine with the fucking phone ringing off the hook.
And drinking. Like, he gets his
Yeah,
liquor
he's
out
the
and pours
worst.
and more. Yeah, he's thinking that it's like a prank and they're trying to get him to retire from the force.
Yeah, that everyone in town banded together to start this prank for him.
Right.
He's so self-centered.
Well,
He is
in his defense, the town probably does really hate him.
I mean, yeah.
But he's saying, like, you don't need a priest, you need a psychiatrist, and like, you want to play games, you're messing with the wrong guy. Like, he's just a dick.
Yeah, he's the worst.
So now we see somebody driving and a clown pulls up next to him, and it's like this road race thing.
No, the clown is in an invisible motorcycle, and there's two floating lights. And he sees this
and
car.
somebody went behind him and drew it with highlighter onto the film itself.
Yes, and he's running that car off the road like he's banging into it.
Invisibly.
Yeah, but it goes off the road. And I have a fun fact about this, but I'll just say it now. Did you notice it went off the road and just kind of fell off the side?
Yeah.
It was supposed to like shoot off and be like Thelma and Louise badass, but the stunt people forgot to put the things under the wheels that would stop the car. I don't know exactly what it was, but they didn't put the stoppers under the wheels, so it just kind of like fell off and like damaged.
And they were like, fuck it, we got to use it.
I
Yeah.
thought
Exactly.
it was realistic because it catches on fire.
I mean, I thought it was funny, but yeah, it was not intentional. All right, so now Debbie is at home and she's taking a shower.
Oh, yeah, and this is where you see the popcorn on her and it falls into the ground and the popcorn starts moving.
Which was
Yeah.
creepy.
Insane, yeah.
It's moving around like Terminator 2. And we also noticed that she may have been wearing long underwear on this date.
Well, I mean, she got to protect herself.
It's a first
Yeah.
date. It was a first date. Also, I would like to refer to the popcorn as clown row.
Clown row?
Clown row. And just like regular row, it is crunchy.
I think maybe Mike told her they were going rafting on this date, and that's why she wanted to wear this long underwear.
There was
know?
evidence to suggest that they were going rafting on this date. Yeah.
Whitewater rafting. She just didn't know whitewater rafting was his like euphemism for sex.
Oh.
If she had known, she would not have gone out with him. So yeah, now we've got our popcorn row.
Clown row. Clown row.
Clown row. Okay. We're seeing the clown row like shaking the hamper. So we know there's something ominous about it.
Yeah, because the popcorn climbed into the hamper, right? And
It
then
did.
climbed into the medicine cabinet. Yeah.
Mhm. And some of it got in the toilet too.
Yes.
So now Dave and Mike are making up in the car, and Dave is apologizing for handcuffing him for no reason.
My girlfriend's dating some loser asshole.
I know. I guess she goes for laughs, not stability.
Oh, yeah. And he says that right to his face. Dude, Dave is like power moving all over everybody in this movie.
And then
I'm here
Mike's
for
just
it.
like, yep. really don't want to date her anymore. This is called baggage.
She's all yours, buddy.
Right. And then he sings, hello, my baby, hello, my honey, and like rolls out of the
Dances
car.
out of the car. Yeah.
All right. So now we get Clown at a bus stop. And so
this is the shadow puppet murder scene, right?
Which I actually thought was kind of cool.
Oh my God, it's insane.
So the clown is at the bus stop and there are a bunch of people there, especially an old lady who's delighted by clowns.
And this is when I wrote down, no one is reacting to these clowns like they should be reacting to these clowns because they are scary as fuck. And I literally wrote in all caps, fucking run, you asshats. Because they're insane.
But so despite having 4 fingers, he is making some killer shadow puppets.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit, the dude's amazing.
I know. Shadow puppets are hard, guys. I try, like I'm doing a dog right now. See?
But can you do a T-Rex that then also eats people and then puts them in as popcorn into your man purse?
I can, yeah.
I can't do the red glowy eyes. I'm still working on it.
Right. That's the hard part. That is the hard part of that. Not the eating of the people, the glowy eye.
Can you do Washington crossing the Potomac and an objectified woman?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, my God.
Everybody's loving these. And so, like what Mikey was just saying, or Todd was saying, like at one point it's a giant dinosaur with red glowy eyes and it eats all the people. And it like the reverse of that church steeple thing. And so the people all shrink into the clown's hand and then he puts them into the popcorn bag. And you can hear them screaming.
To feed his babies.
It's like a reverse Ghostbusters, you know?
It is a reverse Ghostbusters.
My favorite part about this scene is Mike and Dave's reaction shot because they watch the whole thing happen for the cop car, and then like Mike's like, holy shit, we got to get out of here.
Well, and then Mike tries to run him over. Like he steps on the gas and starts like weaving the car towards him. And then this is another time when the clown uploads himself to the cloud and goes straight up. And then the cop car almost hits the wall, but they make it sound like it hits the wall.
It hits the wall in air quotes.
Exactly. It hits the wall in air quotes. And then they start.
This is like our 3rd or 4th fender bender at this point.
And then Dave calls Mooney on the radio, and Mooney answers the radio like Delilah after dark talks to callers. Because he's like, 1 Baker 5, this is Mooney speaking.
It's
Mooney.
like
insane.
Report some clowns tonight.
I know. He's about to long distance dedication to somebody. It's insane.
He's a big ICP fan, so that was his request.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Yeah.
They had trouble explaining to Officer Mooney how magnets work.
And so Dave is telling him it's real, and asshole cop still doesn't believe him, still thinks he's trying to retire, but then he starts to hear screams.
Right. Well, an asshole cop says that Dave is a college flunky like the rest of them. I'm like, that dude's a cop. He's graduated college and police academy. Give him some respect, dude.
Well, maybe he dropped out of college after Debbie dumped him, and his only recourse was to join the force because then he knew he would be able to arrest all of her future boyfriends. So
that's what it is.
He's playing the long game, you know.
Where's the chief of police in all this? These 2 officers are terrible.
He's coming back Monday. They actually say that.
Oh, did they say it?
They do say that, yeah.
I think just
he's
to
like,
say,
I'll leave a report for the chief of police on Monday.
Winky blinky. I think just to let us know that this town is actually in capable hands, just not this weekend.
The weekend shift of the cop force is real bad. It's 2 guys who barely know what they're doing, and one of them hates their life.
Exactly.
They violate civil rights left and right in this movie.
Really, only Officer Mooney does. Dave is a pretty decent cop.
Dave put that guy in cuffs and then was like, I'm sorry that I violated your civil rights for no reason because you dated my ex.
Dave had no choice. That man was dating the love of his life, Mikey.
Justified.
Give him a pass.
And so now, as the town is getting clowned, we hear the ice cream truck and it's like squealing away, and the 2 girls are running after it, and we hear them say on the overhead or on the PA, "Forget the girls, they eat too much."
Yes, they're horrible. Terrible. But this is when Mike splits up from Dave. Dave is like, go with them and warn everybody. And then Dave goes, I guess, to the police station, right? To get the state cops involved, I think is what he says.
Yes,
right?
he was going to get the state police. And then he tells Dave, just use the loudspeaker on the ice cream machine to warn everybody to lock their doors and stay inside.
Exactly. When Mike goes up to the 2 idiot brothers, he's talking about like having them do this. And the 2 idiot brothers are like, no, this is not what we're going to do tonight. This sounds horrible. And he's like, well, let's just go get Deb and Deb's roommates, Winky Blinky, who are attractive or whatever.
No, he says with big boobs.
Yeah, and then Mike goes, yeah, sure, or whatever. That's why I don't think they really exist.
Mike, he's a good manipulator.
Yeah, he just knows how to get them to do what he wants.
He knows his audience. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so now we're back at the police station and the phones are going crazy and he's ignoring them all. And then a giant clown walks into the station. And this is the longest, slowest, most drawn out thing because
it is insane.
It's pretty scary.
It is a little unsettling just because this clown looks terrifying.
Well, and this is when Mooney, I think, says my favorite Mooney line of the whole movie, and that's, well, whoopee goddamn to do.
Yeah.
I was like,
He has
okay.
such good lines.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, I wrote that one down too because that was funny.
No, my favorite Mooney line is when he's putting the clown in jail and he's like, you would get your Miranda rights, but this is not regular jail. This is Mooney's jail.
Mooney jail.
Absolutely.
You ain't got no rights. Yeah. Well, and so
You ain't got no rights.
he thinks that he said, I'm going to shoot you right now, you red-nosed freak. And he thinks the clown is giving him flowers, and then he gets shot in the face with water. And
Yes.
I thought that was going to be like acid that melted him.
Me too,
Which
but it wasn't. It was
missed
just regular
opportunity.
water.
No, this
Yeah.
clown's in for like the long game.
Oh,
Yes, he's
yeah.
got a plan, and I like how this plays out, although it disturbed me. And so he handcuffs him, and then his hands come off in the handcuffs.
Oh my God. That was hilarious. Yeah.
And so then he walks him back into where the cells are, and the two emo kids are still in there.
They look scared shitless by because he's like, they're like, we want
Yeah.
a phone call. And then Mooney puts the clown up to like put in the cell and they're like,
No, never mind. Never mind.
Yeah.
So he like Mr. Gadget arms his arm out and like smashes Mooney's face into the cell bars.
Oh, no, that's not his arms.
What is it?
Once Moody gets the clown in the cell, he takes one of those party favors that you would blow and it like unrolls and like shakes or whatever. He blows that, and instead of it turning into like a little shaker at the end, it goes "Brrr," or whatever at the end. It like is a hand that grabs Moody and chokes him to death and pulls him into the bars. Moody gets murdered by a party favor.
in the clown's defense, Rooney tried to pistol whip the back of the clown's head as he put him into the cell.
I mean,
mean,
Moody
yeah.
did say you have no rights in Moody's jail. I get it.
Mooney's a little bit of an asshole.
Moody's living in the prison from Shawshank Redemption.
Yes.
He really is. Yeah, he's Mooney Hadley.
Yes.
Oh, we see Debbie getting out of the shower, and
Right.
then we see Dave back at the police station, and he knows exactly where the clown went because there are giant
Neil
neon
Armstrong
footprints.
sized footprints in the floor. Yes.
Yeah, this was the first step for clown kind.
Yeah.
You know?
He's so silly. I love it.
It's real. Yeah. And then he goes into the cell room and there are footprints everywhere, like on the walls and the ceilings too.
So after Mooney gets choked, it cuts to the two emo guys
Oh,
in
the
the
punks.
jail with him. And they look at the clown and go, so what are you in for? Murdering the cop right in front of you. You saw the whole scene.
They're
What
just trying
are
to
we-
make jail polite small talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So at this point, I saw the clown footprints everywhere. And I also noted there are 30 minutes still left in this movie because I was about ready for this to be done at this point.
There's a high budget conclusion to this movie, okay?
The end of this movie, it's 30 minutes of insanity left, but still, I was a little over it. Okay, and so he goes in and he sees a cotton candy cocoon, and he pulls the face back, and I guess we see that it's Mooney, but then an arm falls down from the candy cocoon that's on the wall behind them,
Yes.
too. And then we see the clown is by the desk, and he Dr. Evil style turns around in his chair slowly. This creeped me out. He's got Mooney on his lap as a ventriloquist dummy, and he's got like the little red circles.
Yeah, he's got the circles on his cheeks.
The thing on his chin, but it's blood.
Yeah. My only question was, where is the clown's hand?
Oh, it's bloody when it comes out, that's for sure.
Yeah. Ew.
Oh, that's the part that disturbed me. First, what he says is, "Don't worry, Dave. All we want to do is kill you," which is
Yeah.
creepy.
It's so
And he
Yeah.
pulls his bloody hand out, and then Mooney just falls on the floor dead, and it just creeped me out.
I got the impression that Mooney was dead that whole time. But
think he
that
was,
the
too.
clown hand
Oh, yeah.
was
He's puppeting the
manipulating
body.
his
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
And then he just rips it out from his butthole, I guess, and then you just hear the blood sound of it, like him shaking the blood off his hand and go onto the ground.
And you know that clown's waited there for like 45 minutes for this to happen.
Just
like
for
he
this
paced
bit.
up on the ceiling,
Yeah.
waiting for the guy to get here. He's like, okay, now take my place at the desk. Like these guys have really thought out these scenes.
Yes, they have.
So now the clown gets up, and Dave starts shooting at him, but it doesn't do anything because he's a
No,
clown.
because they can't be hurt by regular bullets.
They can't unless you shoot him right in the clown nose, which I think was an accident. And so when that happens, he turns into a weird green spinning circle and explodes into glitter everywhere.
Yeah, they green diamond explode into glitter and I guess die? Question mark? Yeah.
I mean, do clowns ever really die, though?
I say it that way because I think you see this clown in the last scenes when like there's just like a shitload of clowns around. I'm pretty sure you see this specific clown again.
Well, we don't know their culture. We don't know if there's only like 10 types of popcorn clowns that just get reborn over and over again.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know.
They're all identical.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so now Ice Cream Truck is trolling around, calling all clowns. The brothers are being idiots because they don't believe him.
The clowns are having a goddamn parade at this point.
They're
like having a parade in town square, and the idiot brothers are driving around trying to warn people, and they run into the parade.
So now Ice Cream Truck gets the fuck out of there. And now Debbie is out of the shower. So now is when we see that the popcorn has turned into baby clown necks, like Jack in the Box clown heads.
They look like dinosaur birds from the neck up.
They do.
This is actually the clown tadpole phase.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and so they're jumping out and they've got giant teeth because they also kind of look like Venus clown fly traps. And so she's like, one of them comes out of the toilet and is trying to attack her, and she falls into the bathtub, and then quick thinking gets the shower nozzle and shower nozzles it into its mouth, and that's how she gets away. And she wraps the shower curtain around her and gets out because she's a woman of action.
This is actually the toughest time in a clown's young life because the clown tadpoles have to eat and then crawl back to the circus tent to become full adult clowns, and most of them get picked up by birds on the way back.
Have you guys seen that turtle thing? It's so sad. Because I know what you're talking about, the little baby turtles who have to get from their egg hatchery to the water with all these asshole seagulls trying to grab them. It's so sad. And the
this is just like that, but Mike and Dave are the seagulls.
And the little cute turtles are terrible, gross clowns on penises.
But she gets hairspray and sprays down the ones that are in the laundry basket and the sink, I think, or the medicine cabinet, right?
Yeah, and so we think she's safe. Yay. And we hear Mike at the door, so now we know she's safe, but not so fast. It's a clown using Mike's voice. Which is weird. Another Terminator 2 reference.
I understand, Jen, that you think Terminator 2 ripped off Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I get it. I don't personally agree, but I understand that you think that Terminator 2 is just a scene-for-scene ripoff of this movie, but you're going to have to let it go, Jen.
But well done. A well-done scene-for-scene ripoff. But so she goes to the window, and she's going to jump out the window, and we see the clowns waiting there with that little trampoline thing, which I thought was a nice little touch.
Oh, my God. That was hilarious.
That was so funny.
Yeah. Well, she goes back into the living room, and the clown picks her up and then throws her onto the couch. And then eventually she ends up in a yellow balloon.
Right. She gets shot with a different gun that doesn't turn her into cotton candy. It turns her into yellow balloon, allowing her to be rescuable for later in the movie.
Right. That is the damsel in distress balloon.
It's like a helium balloon, too. So the clown carries her out to his clown car and ties it on the back.
Right.
Exactly.
Duh.
Yeah, and they, of course, it's basic clown 101. So, Mike gets there and sees them attach it to the back of the clown car, and they drive away. So Mike knows that they got her, and I think she sees Mike too. So the ice cream truck is hot on the tail of this clown car,
and then they pass by Dave. Wait, he was just sitting there for some reason.
Well, he's been in touch with his ex-girlfriend, and he's got some alone time, so he's going to use it to his,
to fulfill some needs, Mikey.
He's jerking it in the car is what I'm implying.
Oh my God. Oh, and he also called the state police at the police station.
He did. So help is on the way. But so now Dave is following them, and ice cream truck stops short or something, and so Dave rear ends the ice cream truck with his police car.
Oh, yeah, because no one in this movie can drive.
Yeah. This is really just to get them all in the ice cream truck.
It's important to realize that they were chasing a go-kart sized clown car.
It's kind of like a Prius if a Prius were a clown car.
What do you have against Priuses?
Hey, I love Priuses. I had one for a while, but it fucked up my cell phone because I forgot that my cell phone was on top of it.
Well, I'm pretty sure it didn't do anything to your cell phone then, Jen.
It's supposed to be a smart car.
Exactly. Am I supposed to remember everything? Okay, so now they're saying, if you were a clown, where would you hide? I know, in the amusement park that we just found out exists and that we happen to be driving to right now.
Yeah.
My favorite part of this whole movie is because two teenagers stumbled blindly into their spaceship. they reparked it at an amusement park off screen.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, so clown car pulls up and there's a security guard there and he's saying, hey, you guys, this thing's closed. You got to leave. And so one clown gets out and then all of the clowns, like clown style, get out of this clown car. And then they throw a bunch of pies at this guy and he just kind of stands there and
pies out and the security guard's like, what? You're going to throw those pies at me?
I'm not even hungry. And then they throw the pies at him like over and over. And he's just like, oh, okay, well, I guess this is my life now.
He dies dramatically like Terminator 2.
He literally just takes it, and then apparently those pies are acid?
Yeah.
And they melt him down.
Because later we're going to see his skeleton sticking out.
The clowns go into the funhouse, but the short one puts a cherry on top of his melted pie body. In clown culture, that's actually how grave sites work. It's just a cherry with the name.
There's no headstone. It's just a cherry. I love it.
Aww. So now ice cream truck is there and they all get out and they see the giant like acid ice cream skeleton pile. Now they are in the speculation zone, I wrote, because they're talking about all the different things that this possibly could be. Like maybe they're from a dying planet. Maybe they're just cruising through the galaxy because they're hungry, trying to figure out what these things are. And Dave finally tells them.
So much like the Cult Podcast, they are in the speculation zone.
They are, yeah. Hey, Cult Podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so they're saying, how do we communicate? Because the clowns the whole time just say,
they sound like the Ewoks
They
from
do.
Star Wars.
They do.
They do.
But they have an understanding of human language because they mimic our sound, and when they puppet our dead bodies, they know what to say.
Right.
We at least know one of them can do a killer Mike impression. Not the rapper Killer Mike, the actor in this movie, Mike, who this clown does a killer impression of.
All right. So Dave tells him to shut the fuck up because we are in the layer of these things that are trying to kill us. And he says you got to shoot him in the nose, too. So now we know everybody knows how to kill him. They go into a weird chamber that looks like it's out of Clown Whoville. And it's got like triangles and striped poles and lots of mist. And one of the idiot brothers hits the giant red button and like it sets off a mist and honk trap or something that doesn't actually do anything.
Okay, so I did love this scene because the cop Dave is like, idiot brothers, stay with us. Don't fuck off. We need to stick together. And they're like, fine, we'll stay together. And then they open that door, and I guess there's a trap door below the dry ice, and they just fall through it into a ball pit. And then the cop turns around, he's like, I literally just told them this. Where are they? What is happening?
Yeah, and he's like, these are your friends. No wonder she's going to
he quickly gets over it. He's like, whatever. I don't like them anyway. Let's go.
And so what we find out happens to them is that they fall into this ball pit and there are two lady clowns waiting for them.
Yes. Are you guys Deb's roommates?
No, idiots. And the next time we see them, I thought for a second they were dressed as clowns the next time we see them, but they're not.
No, they just have huge clown kiss marks on their face.
And their clothes are shredded.
Because they had sex with those clowns.
Yeah, man. It was crazy. Yeah. Crazy with a K.
That's the movie the listeners wanted us to watch, guys.
Now, granted, it was on my list.
That's true.
That is
this
true,
was the first movie you actually suggested when we got onto the podcast, too, because I asked.
Oh, my God. That's right, Mikey. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I said, what kind of B movies you want to watch? So they get to the cotton candy room. And so they're looking for the yellow balloon that has Debbie in it. And so they hide, and a clown very slowly walks around and like starts like squeezing the cotton candy and knocking on it and smelling it. And then he takes a silly straw.
Oh, and then he sticks a crazy straw into it.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And then I guess drinks the blood out of it?
Yes.
Question mark?
And then the best part is that this shot is like 2 minutes long, and like you watch the blood go all the way up this crazy straw to the clown's mouth.
But so then he wanders away, and they find the yellow balloon, and Debbie is still alive in there. And so Dave shoots the balloon open because he's kind of a loose cannon, and it works.
Yeah, did you guys notice that Mike is on the other side of the balloon? I think Dave was trying to free his ex-girlfriend and kill her new boyfriend in one shot.
I think so too, and he got 1 out of 2, you know? And he was probably
he
like...
almost got Mike, yeah.
But I mean,
so
he
funny.
got one of the things that he was going for, so, you know. And did you notice Dave hugs her when she falls out of the balloon? Mm-hmm. So now they're about to run upstairs, but Dave says there might still be people alive in here and we should try to save them. And everybody else is like, fuck it. Now let's get out of here.
Yeah, they just leave.
Because now more clowns are running after him.
They start getting chased. I do think Dave would have tried to help if they weren't now being chased away.
I think so,
yeah,
too.
by a bunch of clowns. Yeah.
So now they get to a giant pole and the boys are too scared to do it, but Debbie jumps down into the pole. because she's a Debbie of action. And then Mike does.
She
and then
is.
Dave shoots one and jumps. And then there's like a Surlock monster at the bottom of the pole.
But they get off at the right floor, I guess,
Yeah.
and then run away.
This is the design of a spaceship.
Yeah.
But also like a funhouse because they run through these like tunnel arch things that just are shaking. And it's like they just rented a
Oh my
funhouse or a
God.
bouncy house.
Dude, then they run to a big door. And they're like, open the door. We got to go through the door. And then he opens the door and there's three other doors.
And
that
I
are
like how every
smaller.
time they open the door, he's like, it's a smaller door.
Yeah. And they give the same reaction every time. It's hilarious.
Well, so they finally get through it and then they lock it. And now they're in a giant weird room and there are lots of clowns with clown weapons. And I think at this point, Debbie like visibly rolls her eyes. I was like,
Yes.
I feel you, Debbie. We're still
She's
not
like,
out of this
oh my
thing.
God.
And so now they're in this weird giant room with the clowns and they've got like clown golf clubs and clown like bats and like clown, like the Flintstones
Which is so
thing.
bizarre.
It is
because
very
they have, like,
bizarre.
Yes, it is
laser
bizarre.
weapons for the whole film until now.
Well, these are the clowns.
Yeah, they have laser technology, but now they're using clubs.
Here's the thing. They've actually stumbled into the clown fight club. So now they're climbing up to the top of this like pyramid. It almost looks kind of like
Yes.
a birthday cake or something. So they get to
Yes.
the top and they're like stuck. And then never to fear, the ice cream truck smashes through the wall. And because
Of a
it's got-
spaceship.
yeah, of the spaceship. And it's got the big clown on top and the idiot brothers are on the PA commanding the clowns to stop. And it actually works.
Oh my God. It just confuses the clowns, I think. And they're like, what the fuck? And while they're doing the what the fuck, this is when the three of them get away.
Yes, they run back to the truck. Then we see Clownzilla is descending from the ceiling
Yes.
with very visible strings on him. And I thought for a
Yes.
minute it was going to be like a marionette or something, but then
I thought it was a marionette. Yeah.
but no, they just couldn't take the strings out because then when he sees him moving, the strings are all gone. And so then Clownzilla comes over and like Hulk smashes the ice cream truck and he picks it up and he throws it and it explodes. And he says,
Well, first Debbie and Mike and the cop got out, and the ice cream people
they're
brothers
still
were
in
the
there.
in
ice
it.
They're
cream
like,
truck,
it's
yeah.
rented.
And then we thought they were dead, which was I was like, okay, so they're dead. That's fine.
Yay.
They went out like heroes. They redeemed themselves.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
But so now Clownzilla is after them now. And so now Dave is going to Jeff Goldblum himself. And he's going to run out
Yes,
and shoot this
he is.
Clownzilla and let Mike and Debbie run away. Dave is shooting at him. And then Mike and Debbie are out and they notice the tent is glowing and and it's starting to like pull out of the ground. And as that's happening,
Yes.
Dave is shooting, but he's out of bullets. And Clownzilla picks him up like King Kong.
And then it looks like an action figure.
It does.
Yes, it does.
Woo. And
Oh my God.
and the thing, like we see from the outside, that's like a giant yellow top, and it's like levitating out of the ground, and all of the cops that the backup is there, and they're all watching this,
It's the state police. Yeah.
right? And so then from inside, Dave he can't shoot anymore, but he does think of a master plan of taking the pin from his badge.
This right here is why when you get kicked off the force, they ask for both your badge and the gun. Because
Exactly.
they know that they're both equally dangerous.
Yeah.
Because he takes like the safety pin on the back of it and pops Clownosaurus Rex's nose or whatever, and then he dies.
And so then the whole thing starts spinning. And like what happened to the clowns when he got shot on the nose, it all turns into like a big green circle and glitter and then fireworks. So it's actually pretty cool if you're watching it from the ground.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
the spaceship blows up.
Yeah, and it becomes just fireworks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's sad because Dave's gone.
Dave and like most of the townspeople.
Exactly. There are still
Yeah.
so many people on the ship.
Like hundreds of people are dead.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and so then the clown car drops from the sky. Surprise, surprise. Dave gets out and he's okay.
He's daved and confused. Yes.
He's daved and confused. Nice. And so Mike and Debbie both go up and give him a hug like they are all three dating together.
Yes.
Oh, and the idiot brothers are in there too. And turns
Yes.
out they hid in the freezer of the ice cream truck. And I wrote
Yeah,
again, I
just
hate them.
like Indiana Jones in the worst Indiana Jones movie.
Does that happen?
Yes, he escapes a nuclear blast in a refrigerator.
Oh. And so it's raining confetti, and Dave has his hands on Debbie's shoulders like
And
he's
his
the one
kiss in
that
the back of her
dated
head.
him.
Yes.
her in the back of the head.
Yes.
And then, yay, we're all happy. But then they all get hit with pie or ice cream
Yeah.
or something. And then it's, and then freeze frame.
And that's the movie.
Roll
Yeah.
credits.
Oh, yeah. It's a wild ride. So, okay, having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, What do you guys think? Mikey, give me some final thoughts.
This is a movie that's really needed for times like this. I still think it's like so ridiculous. It still holds up.
Yeah.
And like surprisingly high budget effects for this kind of movie.
Yeah. So for me, I love this movie. I will agree it's problematic. There's some problematic parts. It's not awesome. But I love that these three idiot brothers came up with this crazy ass premise and then stuck to it. Because it's so outlandish and so crazy. And they're going for it. And they know what movie they're making. And they are nailing it. And I love that. I think it's so fun because of that. Is it a good movie? Absolutely not. But it's fun to watch because they're going for it and they're getting it. It's so good.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know if that's what they were going for or they were going for a real horror movie or like, I don't know what happened. But it's like definitely a cult classic.
Yes.
And it's I laughed a lot. I mean, I laughed a lot watching it.
I agree. Same.
I think everything you're saying is true. I tend to not like the so bad it's good movies unless they're just like perfect, like Reanimator.
You mean like House 2?
Yeah. I don't know. It's got to hit the right spot. But like,
Tell me about it, Jen.
Yeah,
Tell
it's
me
all
about
about that.
because they are really going for it and they know, like everything you're saying is true, but the problematic elements are just, I can't overlook them enough to like the movie.
Sure.
You know?
And I think that's fair. I think that's very fair. Yeah.
But I mean, I think for a B, I mean, it's a great B movie.
Yes, it is. All right. So let's do box office.
Box office.
Let me just be very upfront about this from Jump Street on box office. I couldn't find anything reputable about box office. So just know that all of this is suspect. The best information I have is on the budget for the movie, and that comes from Wikipedia, and Wikipedia is not great for that. So what do you think the budget for this movie was?
It's got to be high in like 80s money, like $9-10 million.
I'm
What do
going
you
to
think,
say
Jen?
500,000.
Wow, that's a pretty drastic difference. The budget was $1.8 million, which in 88 is not a cheap movie. It's not a cheap movie. It's not a very expensive movie. It's not like Back to the Future money or anything, but it's not like super cheap, right? So I could not find any reliable information for what it made at the box office, right? So the information I did find was on a website called worldwideboxoffice.com. It doesn't look very reputable, and the information it's giving me is insane, and I hope it's not true. So what do you think this website says the box office numbers were for it?
Can you hear the air quotes, listeners, around a
Yeah,
website?
I want to be clear that if this is true, it's insane. Go ahead. What's your guess?
$15 million.
Okay.
$50 million.
Okay, so domestic, it says, is $15.6 million, which means...
All right, I got it.
And this came out in 1988. So if it is truly $15.6 million,
It was a smash hit.
it did better than They Live, which we just did. It did better than Poltergeist. It did better than Man from the Snowy River 2. It did better than Stand and Deliver. It is close to Police Academy 5. Like, that's the range it puts it in. And then it says...
Police Academy 5. It can't make it there.
That's the year that it swept the Oscars, too. So,
But listen, I mean, this is Killer Klowns from Outer Space, you guys.
Right.
It's saying that it was the 64th top grossing movie of that year. Which
Is it? I need somebody who's older to tell me what
listeners.
what would the cultural impact
I
of
need
this
someone
movie.
to do a much deeper dive and tell me if this is true, because it also says that it made an additional $28 million overseas, leaving it at $43.6 million total that it made.
How did it not get a sequel if that's the case?
I mean,
I've got fun facts.
I know there were talks about a sequel. I don't know if it was made. Jen, it sounds like you have some fun facts.
I
But
do, yeah.
I just want to put the world's biggest asterisk next to our box office segment here, because I do not know if any of that is true. And the only website I could find that information on looks super sketch. So listeners,
I know it's made a lot of money on home video.
oh, I'm
it's such a
sure it
cult
did.
Classic.
I'm
Yeah.
sure it did. And maybe this website's accounting for that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But listeners, if you want to like do a much deeper dive, or if you guys have any firsthand knowledge, please let us know, because I would love to know what it really made. And even if you just confirm that this information is true, even as batshit as insane as it is, I want to know. Like, this is the same year that Tequila Sunrise came out, Action Jackson came out, what Ernest Saves Christmas. Like, the top grossing movie this year was Rain Man, and then Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and then Coming to America.
I love Coming to America.
This came out the same week Crocodile Dundee 2 came out. Sorry.
Wow.
Anyway, I did a lot of research trying to find the true box office numbers, and I couldn't find anything that seemed at all legitimate. So, Jen, do you have some fun facts for us?
I do have some fun facts.
I cannot
Okay.
wait. Jen's fun facts.
Now with more fun. The original title of this was Killer Klowns. And they added the outer space because they didn't want people to think it was a slasher movie. And this was kind of like, I think the book came out in 86. So there was kind of like the slasher clown thing. And so they wanted to let everyone know they were, in fact, from outer space. The most expensive prop, which one do you think was the most expensive?
I don't know. Everything looks really cheap to me. Maybe I don't know, maybe the gun, the popcorn gun, because you actually have, there's like mechanics in that you have to like load it and be able to shoot it. So like everything else looks like it was pretty cheap.
It was the popcorn gun. That was the most expensive. Yeah, because you're like
Yeah.
shooting actual popcorn, and they had to like propel the popcorn.
And it does shoot pretty far. Like it looks pretty legit. Yeah.
And there's popcorn like popping on the gun part.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets everywhere. All right. The legs of the little balloon dog, they covered them with latex so that they wouldn't pop on the pine needles as it was like walking around in the forest.
That's adorable.
Isn't that cute?
I loved that balloon dog, man. That balloon dog let me know it was okay to laugh. And that this is going to be a fun romp through a clown crazy universe.
It was okay. It wasn't too soon. So this was written and directed by the Chiodo brothers. I think I'm saying that correctly. And this was the only movie that they have written and directed.
No.
What?
But
Really?
they're known as a team of special effects designers, which is
that
why
actually
they're
makes sense.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of like they just wanted, like they had this idea for clowns and then they kind of just wanted to see what they could do with it, They are probably
How
best.
insane can we make this?
Exactly. What do we have left over? So they also they constructed the whole Clownzilla set themselves, but most of the other stuff they just kind of directed. But they're known also for the monster effects in the movie Critters.
What?
Oh.
And they also did Large Marge from one of the Pee-wee movies.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. Okay.
Okay, so the interior of the spaceship, they made it because the budget was so low. They had to make it like Tinker Toy type. So it's basically like a big black warehouse kind of black box kind of thing. And there's all these neon triangles and poles and stuff, and they could just move them around in different ways to save money, which is why it looks like they're just going through a series of other funhouse stuff, And I mean, it kind of fits. It doesn't look too out of place,
It works. It looks good, that part.
It looks, it's campy and it's silly, but it does work.
There are about 40 clowns in the final clown climax. And so 2 of these masks were actually repurposed for the movie Ernest Scared Stupid.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Clownzilla was originally supposed to be stop motion when they were designing it, but because of time and money, it ended up being a rubber suit. The original ending was going to be for Dave and the Idiot Brothers to die, but they wanted, for like the kind of movie it is, they wanted more of an upbeat ending. So
No, I think it would have worked better if they died.
I would have liked it better if they died because I didn't like any of them. But I mean, I don't think it was bad. It fits with the bonkersness that they just fell out of the sky.
Yeah.
The body count is about 40 like townspeople, which is pretty big for like a horror comedy.
It's bigger than like a lot of the Jason and stuff movies. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Talking about the sequel. There has been a sequel in development hell since this movie was released. So, so from 88, they've been planning to make a sequel. Because, I mean, I guess like what you were saying, it did pretty well.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Allegedly. But so the idea for the sequel was that Mike is the old town drunk and he keeps warning them about the killer clowns, but nobody will believe him. So maybe I guess he's like older asshole cop, So then it started to heat up a little bit around 2012, but then it got postponed. And then I think Sci-Fi bought the rights at some point and they were going to develop it. They were going to make it into a series in 2016. So they've been kind of trying to talk about how this could happen. But I think when there was that big Disney merger, who did Disney buy? Fox. So I think Fox had the rights at the time and were planning to make a sequel. And then when Disney bought them, they canceled like 200 planned properties. And this was one of them.
This? Really?
They did.
Disney didn't want to be involved with the killer clowns from outer space. Imagine that.
I can't believe it.
I mean, the IP they could have thrown in there would have been cool, But it was added to Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights. In 2018, I think it was like a small part, but then it got its own haunted house in 2019. And so that's kind of like heating back up the love for it. And it just came out on Netflix too. So I think a lot of people are going to kind of be discovering it. Right, exactly. I think it's on Shudder as well. But yeah, it's a camp classic that hasn't really gone anywhere. And now it's like, maybe the fact that people are rediscovering it again is going to lead to a sequel, but who knows? And those are my fun facts.
Well, thank you for your fun facts, Jen.
Well, you're very welcome.
Well, let's knock out that scary scale, even though I think it's going to be pretty easy for us to guess what we're going to give it.
Hey, listeners, our scary scale is a ranking of how scared we were when we watched the movie today. It's not the quality of the movie, it's how scary we thought it was. Our 1 example is Ghostbusters. Our 10 example is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. All right, Todd?
I will give it a 1. I don't think it was scary at all. I thought it was hilarious. A little inappropriate at times, but a fun, really committed, shticky kind of movie. Mikey, what do you think?
I'm going to give it a 1 because the same reasons. I think the scene with the little girl was like the scariest part of the film.
Yeah.
But it was mostly just silly.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 2 because of that little girl scene. I forgot about that. I was going to give it a 1, but yeah. And there are a couple of moments where the imagery is disturbing, like the sheriff marionette thing.
The dummy.
Yeah, that bothered me a little bit. It's still mostly just silly. So, all right. And that's our scary scale.
Well, all right. Well, this week, the listeners made me watch Killer Klowns from Outer Space. What are you guys making me watch next week?
I'm so excited because next week we are watching Crawl, the alligator movie. And I'm so excited because I love this movie. Mikey, have you seen this?
I have seen it. I don't love it as much as you, and I'm still kind of sad that Mikey Month is ending.
Oh, well,
Goodbye, silly movies. We'll see you again sometime.
Well,
Someday,
I wouldn't necessarily call Crawl a serious horror movie.
No.
It's not.
I think Crawl has some really dumb things.
Yeah, but it's also got some really awesome things. I'm excited. And we may have a special guest for that too. So I'm really excited.
We might. So guys, make sure you watch Crawl for next week. Now it's come time for us to read a 5-star review. So while Mikey looks up a 5-star review, let's talk about how you can get yours read on the podcast. All you got to do is go to Apple iTunes and leave a 5-star review and leave accent or something funny for us to have a little fun with. And Mikey will read your review on the podcast. So, Mikey, do you have one?
I do have one.
Awesome. Let's do it. Who's it from?
Hope Cat.
Oh, nice.
Oh, awesome.
Hey, Hope Cat.
She says, an addicting fun listen.
Oh.
All right, this is a long one, so bear with me.
Buckle up, buddies. It's a long one.
I subscribe to the Horror Virgin after hearing them guest on the Sincast.
Oh,
but
nice.
didn't listen until I had gotten caught up with all my other podcasts.
Hey, I hear
I
you.
get that.
Which in hindsight was a mistake.
Yeah, it was.
Oh.
As now I'm playing catch up to all those podcasts I got caught up on. This podcast is addicting.
Yeah,
I was
nice.
hooked by the chemistry of the cast from about 5 minutes into episode 1, and it only got better from there. As such, I told my horror-loving sister about the podcast, and she loves it.
Oh.
Todd is the virgin and hates horror movies, which is something I myself relate to.
Oh, nice.
I, too, am a horror virgin, and I hate jump
Yay,
scares.
fellow horror virgin. I love it.
And basically everything that has to do with horror, which makes the premise appealing to me as I have been forced to watch things I don't particularly enjoy
Amen.
watching by people in my own life. Jen's deep dives into analyzing the plot and characters shows me that there are other people out there that do the same thing I do, which if it isn't clear, is overanalyze and project into movies and characters.
There are dozens of us.
Mikey's jokes have helped me laugh when my day's been tough, and the Patreonicals are the highlight of every episode.
Aw.
Wow.
The stories are always off the rails hilarious, and the catchphrase, I'm a therapist, but not his therapist, gets me every time. I got a catchphrase. It's happened. And she says, I need a t-shirt.
That's awesome. I love it.
This podcast has made me laugh, cry, and the perfect mixture of the two combined. So
Aw.
few things make me do all three, and it's something that kept me coming back for every episode. If you're in the market for a new horror-related podcast, I highly suggest this one. 20 out of 5 stars. You guys nailed it.
Oh, wow.
Aw,
Thank you for the
yay.
laughs and the cries. I look forward to every scare you guys give Todd. 5 stars.
That's an amazing review. Thank you so much, Hope Cat, for that awesome, awesome review. We are a member of the Consequence Podcast Network, so if you could do us a favor, check out some of their great shows like The Halloweenies or The Losers Club or Kyle Meredith With. This Must Be the Gig, The Assembly, The Opus, the Fifth Dimension. Yeah.
Ghost Echoes.
Ghost
Echoes. All of
That's
those,
the newest
guys.
one. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, check out those shows. Also, check out their website at consequenceofsound.com. They got a lot of great music and pop culture, movie, TV reviews. It's great.
Yeah. I just reviewed Mrs. America, and you should watch Mrs. America because it's so good.
So check that out, guys. If you want to follow all of our stuff, go to HorrorVirgin.com. That's where you can see the rest of Jenn's blog and links to the merch store. And you can follow us at Horror Virgin. If you want to follow Mikey, he's at mrandolph24. Jenn is at Jenn with 2 N's, Ferratu, and I am at Todd J. Awesome. If you want to help financially support the show, please do by going to patreon.com/horrorvirgin. We got a lot of great levels with a lot of great things, a lot of bonus episodes, a lot of video content, listener requests like this movie was today, and every level of the Patreon gets to suggest movies and vote on the movies. So check that out. If you can't financially support the show, we completely understand. But if you want your daily free content, make sure you check out the Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/horrorvirgin, where we have a large, awesome, horror-loving community who's very supportive and just a great community, guys. Check it out.
They really are. Yeah, I want to emphasize we said horror-loving community, not horror-loving community.
Wait, what did I say?
Because that's what I heard. I thought you said horror-loving community.
They're called sex workers, Todd.
Oh my God, horror-loving community.
Yeah, but it is a really great group. Well, guys, thanks so much for joining us. That's going to be it for us. I'm Jenn.
I'm Mikey.
And I'm your Horror Virgin Todd, guys.
Oh, sorry, I should do.
Have a great week.
Bye.
Honk, honk.
Clown nerds.
You would have sipped out of that crazy straw, right? Like, because I would love to taste somebody if they were wrapped up in cotton candy.
Gross.
Hell no. That's so gross.
I mean, it looks like Kool-Aid.
It did look like Kool-Aid.
That's what people taste like when they're wrapped in cotton candy and dissolved.
Consequence Podcast Network.